This was my first ever Meteora position, Drift Soul. I picked it because the API looked great on the dashboard, and I clicked through the modal without really reading it, and within about a day it had walked straight out of my range. Barely any fees, and I was just sitting there bleeding while I refreshed the page trying to figure out what actually happened and what out of range actually meant. But if I was starting today on Meteora in 2026, I would not do any of that. There are so many official and community made resources for LPing, and the order you use them in is crucial. So in this video, I'm going to give you a roadmap of what I would do if I was starting from zero, the stops, the order, and the traps waiting for you. So just for clarification, I'm going to be going over how I would learn rather than showing you exactly how to do each of these stages, as that would be an extremely long video, but I can obviously expand on anything here. So before we start, I guess there's a few different areas. First of all, you might be completely new to LPing, new to DeFi, new to absolutely everything, and that is perfectly fine. There's a ton of resources for this. You can, start watching at the beginning and, go through from there. Then there's people you might have LP'd elsewhere, such as Orca, Raydium, another chain, or traded meme coins. So you're already a bit familiar. But with this, there is also the options where you can, start further down the road, or you might already be running positions, have used Meteora, used the platform, and are wanting to learn new strategies, more advanced strategies, or even going further beyond that and, looking at community tools and a lot of the agentic features as well. So here's why I'm making this video now and not, for example, 12 months ago. So previously how we learned was you just had to try and fail. But now in 2026, we have an abundance of resources. Starting with on the live Meteora website itself, we have the starter space where you can visualize your first position and be walked through exactly how it all works, with guides all on this page. We have the LP Army Hub, which has the bootcamp. It has an entire journal of how to start learning depending on your level as well, with multiple different layers going from A to Z of how to LP. We have the official community resources with the Discord and the LP Army, which is a huge value in itself. We have also community run Discords and servers like mine or like the Indonesian ones. We have country level ones. We have all the interactor resources like the playground, but going even a step further, we have a bunch more community tools now, thanks to the rise of vibe coding. We have the established ones like LP Agent, like Fabric, but we've got new ones like my own one, like TrackLP, or even other community members like Swanee making this website for checking the Meteora DLMM coins as a screener, and we've seen a few of these pop up, or Michael Zogot's tool, or a bunch of other ones. So now the problem really isn't lack of resources anymore, but it's how to structure them and how to do them in an order so that you can learn and put those learnings into practice. So first of all, we have the LP Army Academy, and you might have already seen this, but the reason I mention it first is because it has the lowest commitment but highest density of free information you could have. So the best bang for your buck, with 3 hours learning time, with video and visual education, and it's interactive with a Q&A and a graduation. From here, you can click Start Learning, select your level, select your language, and then click I'm ready. They do use the same course, but you can decide where you do want to start. So we've got the basic level, literally explaining what LPing is, the difference between a token and a coin, all the different terms you will need to know. Then you have the slides, and you do have a Q&A as well. You will want to log in though as well, and it does connect via Discord. So this is, a fairly new feature as well on the LP Army. You can log in and it will connect straight to your Discord. So you will want to join the LP Army Discord as well. And once you've done this, everything will be connected. And this pretty much does cover everything from external tools to how to use the platform to different strategies. But what you will find is you might potentially have some questions as you're going through, or want to actually try the platform practically. And that is where there is the live LP Army Academy and also the live Q&A sessions as well. And these are actually hosted with announcements via the Discord and via Twitter. So as you can see in the Discord in LP Army, you can see the announcements, and you can see that there is free calls where you can ask questions or you can learn, hosted by Heavy Metal Cook, by Hashirama, and by Photon Magic. In the Discord, however, we do have these channels lower down, which are related to the LP alpha, depending on the type of token you go in. And personally, what I find is just reading through this and going in practically with, of course, you are going to want to watch the tutorials first, but when you want to get practical, just scrolling through here, seeing the tokens people are going in, their profit, their strategies, I think it's how I started, is a great way. And this is another, extremely effective way to soak in information if you do want to get more practical with it. And if you do want to do this, we do have two methods. First of all, a lot more on the lighter side, you're risking absolutely nothing, and it is actually covered in the course. We do have the playground, and I've made a video on it previously covering how the playground worked, the kind of percent gain it made, and how it was working, but there has been a lot of improvements since. So if I head over to the playground on the website, we can see that Alex has actually made a detailed tour as well, so we will start it, and it shows you how it functions. And this is actually the same on the main Meteora site now as well. We can see you want to paste in the token you want, you've got the quote price, you've got the current liquidity in the pool, you have the details of the pool, and we have the chart exactly like the live site and how you can make your position. And since my last one, the UI of this literally looks exactly like Meteora actually looks like. So what's going to load up as soon as you do get here is the UI for creating the positions, and to be honest, it's dead on the main site. You can see that we have the Sol USD pool for starting with the graph, and you can enter whatever positions you want and they will appear below. Right now we're 50-50 spot, so all the liquidity is concentrated around the current price at equal intervals, swapping in and out of the token. And you can see this position appear, and you actually earn fees now as well. And when you close, you get the P&L card. The one thing is you can't refresh the page, even though we do have the Discord connected. The positions aren't saved, so you do kind of have to stay in the current session. But if we go on to a meme coin, well, I just created a second earlier, you can see I went 50-50 again. The token actually pumped up. We're earning fees, and we're getting a massive P&L as well. And I can go ahead and claim the fees, or actually go ahead and close that out. And to be honest, I think this is an amazing way to learn. If you don't want to be risking small amounts on the live site, which is obviously the other alternative, but does need some real money, this is a great alternative. But moving over to the main site, and it's also just released in the end of April, I believe, as well. We have the Meteora starter space where we have videos going over how to actually create the position on the live website, create the position. You've got the video, you've got the guide, and an interactive tutorial as well on how to do it. You can see for this tutorial, it does want you to deposit a certain amount of USDC and Solana. It's saying I don't have enough of one of them, but it goes over all of the steps, and it is very cool having these interactive demos. And I could go ahead and create it, and you could see basically exactly what we were doing on the playground, we could do on the live site. And this is kind of where you move on to the next level. Of course, with the bootcamp and the academy, you will end up kind of making positions and, you know, having to get a certain gain. But you will want to start entering a few positions on the live site on meme coins, if that's what you're hoping to get into, or whatever asset class, finding coins via the screener on the Discover tab with all the filters, selecting the filters you want, going into some, you know, of the fresher meme coins, or, you know, kind of daily runner coins or more established ones, and seeing how you do. So after establishing how the platform works and having a bit of an idea of, you know, all the functionalities of Meteora and LPing, however you intend to use it, you're probably going to want to know the best strategies, the best accounts to follow, you know, how to keep updated about everything. And the best place for that is some of the kind of Meteora content creators, some of the other people just posting about Meteora, because it has probably the strongest community, or that I've seen anyway, you know, in all of crypto and, you know, crypto Twitter. You can find some of them on the LP army. If you look on the leaderboard on the Voices of Meteora, you'll see a bunch of accounts. But on Twitter, there's also some lists with them, or on the account, the official account, you can look who they're following. And just seeing these posts daily, seeing breakdowns of different strategies can be extremely helpful. Of course, this is some of these are a bit outdated, but there's always challenges running as well. And this is a great way just to soak up some extra information. Going a step further, of course, you've got like my YouTube channel with trading series. A lot of other people have them. I do need to post another episode on this, of course. There's a lot of other official kind of Meteor or LP Army related live streams and content which is put out, you know, within the week and weekly, such as by Crime XBT, who's been making a ton of content, good friend of mine. He does a lot of live streams, you know, a lot of days in the week, and he also has kind of an official show of Heavy Metal Cook where they interview some people as well. But fundamentally, what you're doing is just trying to learn and study the best strategies for what you're wanting to do. And all that is all you truly need to LP. Learning how it all works, learning the strategies, following the right accounts, and just being active and, you know, continuously learning. But there is still some external tools which are worth learning, and I feel like they fall into a few categories. Of course, Meteora built a ton of the external functionality into their own platform, which is amazing, which is a lot of the stuff we've already covered. But there is still kind of, I guess, a few gaps or areas which people, you know, have thought about. Obviously, one of the main ones is screening coins. There's still a lot of different tools for this, as it is kind of opinionated, you know, what should flag as, you know, a good coin or a bad coin, and everyone has their own opinions about what sort of filters they apply to them. A few people have built tools for this. Then we have analytics and portfolio tools, such as some of my favorites like Fabric or like LP Agent, which are both very effective. I would probably class just another tool I made myself as well, which is TrackLP. I guess would potentially fall into this category where you can add your own wallets or add others and kind of have a dashboard where you can have all of this data flowing continuously. And it's kind of related to monitoring positions. But apart from that, then we kind of have a few tools for automating your LPing or providing kind of custom strategies. One of the main ones is Hawkfy, which has their high frequency liquidity, which is again a much more advanced concept. But what you're able to do is, you know, every few seconds you can have these custom rebalancing positions. Or we have Unify, which you can kind of set parameters for what kind of strategy you want to execute. But going kind of one step even further than this, than all these tools, some of which I have guides on my YouTube channel. You might be able to find a few. Some, again, obviously I don't. You kind of have these agents and these autonomous systems. People are setting them actually themselves with the rise of vibe coding. Obviously, one of the main ones, and the reason I mentioned this last is you need to know how to LP first. So Yuns, who you might have seen on Twitter, who went very, very viral, he released the Meridian agent, which kind of has this hive-mind, as you can see, it actually just released this hive-mind integrated where everyone's agents can actually share their kind of outcomes so they can learn. And how it all works is based on whatever filters you give your agent, it will open positions for you, you know, exit, learn, hopefully train. So it's basically doing your built-in strategy, which you have built up learning over time itself, all autonomously. And there's obviously a GitHub repo for this. I tried making my own version, as you've seen in a few videos, I think my previous one as well, where I kind of used a similar concept, but I actually used a bunch of different wallet data to help inform the decisions. And obviously that went, you know, pretty successfully for me so far. But this only works if you know how to LP first, you know how to point it in the right direction, how to tune it. And honestly, you do potentially need some funds to run this as well. Obviously, cloning it here is a lot, you know, have a lot already configured. But if you're going from more scratch, you're going to need, you know, to pay for the credits to be able to construct it all. You know, you can see other adopters such as SatsMonkey, who made his own version, and also Evil Panda, who actually has a YouTube channel now as well, talking about how he built his. But in very basic terms, how Meridian works is you have all these files related to different aspects of the bot, but it's kind of polling every 30 minutes, checking based on your filters, looking for coins. Now, with the hive-mind, it's reading of all the other agents. You pay, you know, a few cent, you know, I think it's only a few p per day to be able to run it. And you can add the learnings, it adds the trade logs. It's kind of got the configuration as well for, you know, straight up how to interact with the Meteora SDK and program. Mine's a little bit differently. The way I set mine up is, first of all, it's kind of running on this, but, you know, no one else has access. But how it's working is it polls every kind it's actually every 5 minutes, but I have a 30-minute review as well. But once a position is open, I have, obviously it's constantly checking, but you've kind of got these rolling take profit. So a lot of the methods that we're using are, I use LP agent API to be able to check the profit of my positions. I believe some Meridian bots do as well. That's, a very common use of kind of the LP agent API, kind of where we're moving to with all these agents. But, there's systems for token screening. Once you're in, tracking that, rolling stop loss. You can set up the stop loss for it, how many positions you can have at max open, what kind of size, and kind of a learnings folder. And what happens is, over time, you can have your agent or bot get better and better as it learns more. Of course, it's always going to still get rugged on certain scenarios, but there's a ton of different functionality and angles you can go with these. And if you want more content on stuff like this, I can try and make that as well. But if there is one thing to do right now, it is to join the LP Army Discord, to sign up to the LP Army website, and to do the interactive walkthrough on Meteora. Don't start by trying 5 tools, just get this one thing down, and then the profits will start rolling in.